You're about to watch a free clip of Old School. If you like it, wait till you see the whole episode. All the episodes in their entirety are available for members. Become a member by going to tyt.com/join. Cenk Uygur, Ben Mankiewicz, Old School, Old School. So lots to discuss tonight, and there's something new on Old School that I have to explain right now. Programming notes are always super fun. So first of all, of course, we're sponsored by shoptyt.com, where you will not be able to find this T-shirt. Okay,
because what's happening on that T-shirt?
That T-shirt is, if you remember, the Sword in the Darkness, the Watchers on the Wall. Okay, so that's from the last drive we did. Well, we have a new membership drive. So people who gave in the last drive got this T-shirt, and we said they'd never come back, and it didn't come back. Okay. So we're not playing around, you understand what I'm saying? So if we do a T-shirt in this drive, understand that
it will be a different T-shirt.
It'll be different, and you will never get a chance to buy it again. Now, it doesn't even exist yet, so, and probably one of you guys will draw it, as was the case with this one, a viewer drew it. And so I'm gonna tell you about the membership drive in a second, but whenever I see anybody in this shirt, I know that they, in a sense, help build a company. So one of the drives, we built a studio, another one we hired reporters, and this one is to try to get to 100,000 members so that we are an immovable rock and that we fight for progressives, and especially because 2020 is coming. I think we did some pretty good work in 2018.
It's been pushed back.
Oh, it has?
2020.
Okay, the Three-Eyed Raven did not tell me that.
Yeah, it's like, I think 2023.
Is it?
It's coming? Yeah,
well,
yeah. Or what was 2023?
Well, you know what they say.
That will now be 2026.
You're right. Well, what they say, hindsight is 2023.
That's right. They do say that. They do say that. Yeah. I never really understood that expression until now.
Oh yeah,
that's right.
It seemed a little weird, right?
Yeah.
Until now. Okay. So we have a lot of fun things on the show. We're going to, in a minute, discuss, of course, what is the least American season of the 4 seasons. Which one is the least American? It actually turns out, well, that's a good answer for a different question. But it turns out there is actually a clear answer. And we'll see if Ben can get that clear answer. We might have to dip into Trump because he, again, is at it in maniacal ways just before this show began. But before I get into any of that, so I want to explain, we have gone public and private.
Craig, can I get a piece of tape before we continue?
Yeah, okay. This is the kind of stuff that happens on Old School. So we have changed our minds approximately 78 times on whether any portion of this show is going to be public. It's usually for members, and members get it live, and a lot of you are watching now, and notice that we started late as usual. So that's also an Old School tradition. But we're now putting up basically the first half hour for free on YouTube. But it's not just a half an hour show, it's about an hour and a half show, and members get the whole show, and you'll already have seen that in the pre-roll to this, where I'm wearing a suit and all that stuff. But I just wanted you guys to know, both the folks that are watching and that are not members, and the members, that from now on we'll be putting up the first half an hour or so on YouTube on the weekends. Okay, so a lot of you are watching now that are not members.
So the first half hour of Old School, we've had so many conversations about what to do with Old School. I'm sorry, actually, I haven't had any, but nonetheless, so I was like,
only on air.
I like finding out with the rest of you. So the first half hour, which is seldom the best half hour, will be made free.
It is what it is. For example, the first couple of minutes here, useless.
pretty much a waste of time. Requests for tape, chewing some food, going over some membership rules.
Because we eat between the shows. That's okay. Anyways, last thing on this. We're gonna put up a number here that is relevant to the members because they're the only ones watching live, because we've been trying to get to 29,000 today, 29,000 in our membership drive. Those of you who are not members will be seeing this days later, but this will be a fun part. Oh no, it's not public. Anyway, there won't be any fun part for you guys. We do keep it real on Old School. And are we going to talk about the thing on my lip? Yes, that's another thing we're going to discuss in a little bit.
It was only a few weeks ago that we talked about the thing on my lip.
That's right, man. There's a lot of lip talk, a lot of loose lips on the. Oh no, does that mean our ship is sinking? All right. So membership drive update for the day. We're trying to get to 29,000. Did we get there? Can I see the number? Wait a minute, I think I actually have it.
You're a bitch.
That was not. That is definitely not what I intended. All right, let me try that again. Hold on. Okay, all right. So 29,047. We did reach 29,000. Anna says 30,000. She says we got to get to 30,000. She said it by the first day, which was impossible. This is the second day, and 29,000 was impossible.
It's a good start.
It's an amazing start.
Yeah.
So thank you to all of
you.
you.
We were at like 1,000 yesterday, right?
Yeah, 1,500. No, it's been an amazing couple of days. Thank you to all of you guys. And if you're not already a member, make Progressive Media possible and get this fun show. And by the way, the archives for the old school goes back years. You're gonna love those archives. We're not. Wait, I can curse. This will have to be bleeped out later. We're not fucking around, okay?
What does it have to be bleeped out on? The version the
YouTube version,
the free half-hour version.
Yeah, and plus there's another version. Anyway, who cares? Super boring. Anyway, for the members, you get all the curses too. So that's fun. tyt.com/join. All right, let's move on. So we got Trump. There's so many wonderful things today. Also, a secret state among the 50 states that where you're gonna go, no, nobody wants to live there. Wait a minute. Should people live there? So that's coming up in a little bit as well, okay? So by the way, in old school, we measure time in different metrics. So when I say a little bit, I probably mean an hour and 15 minutes from now. Okay, just giving everybody a heads up since we're starting something new today. All right, so without further ado, let's see if you can guess
the most
un-American season. And it's, to be fair, it's by default. There's nothing particularly un-American about it. It just loses to the other seasons.
This is, in your opinion, and I don't mean to say, obviously, there's no conversation that I like less. I had one at the Telluride Film Festival than when you say an opinion as fact and someone joins it, retorts that, hey man, it's just opinion, everyone's entitled to an opinion. I'm like, hey man, you just made this a very uninteresting conversation. Like, I got it, everyone's entitled to an opinion. That's not news. It's only interesting if you state your opinion as fact, as if it's a bold declaration.
Look, if we get to 100,000 members, I should make my first promise now. We will start a show called Strong Opinions with Cenk Uygur.
Strong Opinions.
But it would fill in the blank with Ben Mankiewicz.
Created by Rachel Hamilton. So is this your take, your declaration, essentially?
Yeah, I mean, but you're stating the most obvious things in the world.
I just wondered if like it was read somewhere or it was sort of a group think. Like, did people huddle?
No one outside of me, but it is obvious.
Okay, I think it is obvious. I'm not quite there yet, although I'm certainly influenced by whether you use the term fall or autumn. Because I think if we use the term autumn, then that is in the running. But let's go with fall.
Okay.
And so I don't think it could be fall because fall is I think a time that you would think is just, as I do, the most glorious time. Football begins, it's a new beginning. You can tell me the year starts in January, that's nonsense. The year starts in the fall.
Okay, so far, ding, 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 100% correct. And I feel like in a old school episode 3.5 years ago, we already had this conversation. That one's easy, that's a layup. Fall is the most American season.
Unless you call it autumn, in which case we got to reorder everything.
Yeah, in which case you say, welcome to America. Right. And here we call it fall, and we call football the sport where we actually hit each other.
That's right.
And not kick the ball around until we get to a 1-0 result on the pitch.
That's right.
Okay.
Okay, so fall is not the most un-American season,
right.
That's obvious. I don't think you could argue that summer is an un-American season because it's effing summer. Summer, get out in summer, you look for it, you have some your greatest experience in summer, either traveling with your family, traveling with your friends, summer love. There's just something about summer that even now at our advanced age, like my daughter started kindergarten today. Today is her first day at real school and it was an experience. It was the end of summer. So even her summer, which is not the same as my summer because she doesn't have anything to do and still manages to complain.
God, how great were those summers?
Right, and because you just said how great were those summers, I don't think you can call summer un-American.
Ding, ding, ding. Continue to be 100% right. I believe the last time we played this game, summer came in second. not really a close second, but there was a discussion. There was a discussion because 4th of July is in the summer. I mean, it doesn't get more American than that.
Right, that's right.
There's a lot of flags around.
Labor Day, summer. Memorial Day, technically not summer, but summer.
Yeah, Labor Day, technically summer, but not summer, so it kind of balances out.
That's true, that's true. Labor Day, technically fall, Memorial Day. I mean, Labor Day, essentially fall, Memorial Day, essentially summer.
Right. Also, in the camp for summer coming in number 2, hot dogs.
Hot dogs, sure, barbecues.
Barbecues. No, clearly the second most American season.
Vacationing.
Yeah. No. So this is no break. Look, if you haven't agreed so far, there's something wrong with you.
Well, you're not American.
You might think you're an American, but you're not.
So then we're down to winter and spring.
Yes, we are. See, now you see how it's going to become, okay.
It's tricky because winter has a Christmas or Hanukkah or whatever else thing you want to celebrate.
Yeah.
That's family coming together. It's a great time. You're not saying that anything in these other times, there aren't American moments in whatever is the most un-American season.
Absolutely.
I think
it's a loss by default. That's
right.
all.
That's right. That's what you did say that. So I think that because, especially for those of us who grew up back east, when spring comes, you sense, dare I say it, some degree of hope.
Is that blue you see, Ben?
Yeah. So that we've come out of a winter of short days, and short days blow, right?
Yeah.
Nighttime at 4:42, that doesn't interest anybody. And it's just too cold in the morning. And so when spring comes and you get those first days, it's 52 degrees today and sunny, something's happening. Something is happening. And for me, the baseball, they go to spring training, you sense there's a, so but then there are allergies in spring.
But then the allergies.
But then the allergies, so it's tough because I like winter.
It could be the cup in front of you.
I like winter. I like the snow. I like the cold. I don't like the bitter cold, but I like the cold. But I don't see how the emergence of sun and the emergence of a possibility of a 9-month run of American greatness, 3 straight months. I think spring is more American than winter, and I will say that winter is the most un-American by default of all the seasons.
Yeah. See, this is where the great American controversy begins. Okay, for those of you who use the word autumn, it is a controversy. Because I had it at neck and neck between winter and spring.
Well, clearly it is.
Okay, yeah. But I kept thinking, of what is American about spring? And I was like, cherry blossoms in Washington.
That's Japanese.
Yeah, it's almost literally Japanese. So no, not really. Spring training I hadn't thought of. So that's a good
baseball
case.
and again to quote your, but I mean the promise of summer, the promise of something better, and America is about hope. I mean that's
yeah, it's morning in America. I get it. I totally get it, and I think there's a fair case to be made. But I just thought Christmas was too overwhelmingly American. I voted winter 3rd season, spring by default 4th season. I mean, let's just focus on Christmas for a second, because is there anything more American than Christmas? Because like you could say Thanksgiving, because that's just literally an American holiday. You could say 4th of July. No, but you can't say 4th of July because 4th of July, everybody has a 4th of July for them. Like you would think it's Cinco de Mayo for the Mexicans. It's not, that's a head fake. That is not their Independence Day, okay? But everybody has an Independence Day, right? Nobody has a Thanksgiving, so that's a good argument for Thanksgiving. But Christmas, with its absurd, wonderful capitalism.
Yeah, I tell you why, it's absurd. And I no longer find it wonderful because I find it a crass commercialism. Yeah. And the commercialism bugs me. So yeah, I suppose that's American.
But it is over the top American.
Well, it's consumerism, but it's unpleasant. And it's not us at our best. So it really depends on what the...
Are hot dogs really us at our best?
Kind of, yeah. But I'm gonna stick with spring because I think hope and the emerging possibility of what's to come. By the way, there would always be a 9-month run away from whatever the worst thing is, so it doesn't really hold. But I like that, but warmth and possibility come in the spring. And you and I both agree that I think Thanksgiving is more American than Christmas. And they're in that same block of time, but as we know, Thanksgiving is the fall, Christmas is the winter.
That's right. So here we're gonna have super fun at this point, not just regular fun, because I'm going to direct you to a poll that doesn't exist and might never exist. Later, we might or might not put up a poll on tyt.com/season where you will get to vote on the least American season. We will not even put summer and fall on.
They're not in the running.
Because
they're too American.
Because if you think it's one of those seasons, I'm not interested in your vote. Okay, so the only two choices will be spring and winter. Yeah. And you, the American people, will get to decide what is the least American.
If you think either that summer or fall is the least American season, you should consider yourself, I don't know, a disenfranchised voter in North Carolina or Ohio or Wisconsin. We're not interested in your vote.
Yeah, that's right.
Right.
We
think of us as Scott Walker
and Chris Kobach.
And Chris Kobach. We don't want you to vote. Your vote doesn't count.
You know, you want to vote for fall being the least American season? Sorry, I'm going to need to see some voter ID.
I'm going to need to see some ID. Right. You might as well have been convicted of a misdemeanor in Florida in 1974. You're not voting.
Okay, that's really sad, but true, but weirdly amusing at this moment. Okay. So especially if you're watching this later on Sunday, I guess, when we put up the free version, by then the poll might exist.
Yeah.
So go to
by the way, it might exist and the voting might have been closed off.
Yeah, because we will not let you vote. tyt.com/season if we get to it. But I have circled it on my piece of paper, which has increased the chances of it coming to fruition. Okay, well that was obviously the most important topic. The rest is just fluff.
Right.
So,
did you have a fight or a wrestling match or something with Michael Smirkonish?
No, but I challenged him to one.
A wrestling match. Is that right?
No, but that would have been hilarious.
Or just a fight, just like a bear.
Yeah. So I'll tell you what it was. So. You guys know Smirkonish, he's on CNN these days, right?
He
hops around.
Yeah, but he has a nightly show on POTUS radio which is politics radio on Sirius XM.
Did he mention me wrestling him, or did it just pop into your head?
No, I listened to POTUS Sirius 124. I mean, I listened to Springsteen, Howard Stern, baseball, and POTUS radio. Those are like my only things I ever go to.
You know what?
Yeah.
There could be a good poll in that one. What's most American out of those?
No one listens to POTUS radio. I mean, no one. Like, I mean, everything on Sirius gets like no ratings, except I imagine Howard and music. I mean, people listen to music.
Yeah,
right?
and the Young Turks when we were on.
Right, but are we on it now anymore?
No, we're not.
Okay, so
you can say whatever you want.
Yeah, so I just mean like I can't.
Just kidding. I love my brothers and sisters.
Well, I think that POTUS radio. I was explaining this. I wasn't trying to explain it. My wife totally agreed. We drove back from a film festival back home. We had a 7-hour car trip, and I was explaining that POTUS radio is the definition of the establishment. There is nothing more establishment than POTUS radio. You get some reliable information sometimes, but if you and don't get me wrong, it isn't a powerful part of the establishment. It's just, if you want to know what the establishment is thinking, join the 38 people listening to POTUS radio and you'll realize that they are getting that.
100%. Plus, there is one person that listens to POTUS outside of you.
Michael Schur. Of course.
Of course.
Well, it's good. It's worth listening to. I mean, it's engaging. They have some different shows. I particularly enjoy the Press Pool with Julie Mason. She couldn't be more establishment, but Smirkonish is on, and he is unbelievably established. So I like listening to it because you get a sense. But I think even for the establishment, he got something very wrong today related to the president. He put out a poll. So it was two things. You mentioned the president, and he had a poll. He has a poll every day, I guess. And his poll was, will the Woodward book, Fear, right, that's what it's called?
Yep.
Move the needle? And he made significantly, I think, which is an irrelevant adverb, because I think it will move the needle a little, right? But
I have a strong opinion on that.
His argument was no, it will not. And I don't know, no one knows, but I thought he compared it to the other guy's book. What was his name?
Wolf,
Michael Wolf.
MichaelWolf-pack.com.
Right, totally. And he read some clips pretending that they were, this is the most promotion Smirkonish has ever gotten.
No, and I also love Smirkonish. Yeah. There is a bizarre Smirkonish love in the building, which makes no sense. No sense. Later I will tell you about how I threatened to wrestle him.
So he said that he read some allegations in the book and then was like, aha, those are from Michael Wolff's book. Did I trick you? I was like, good one.
But that's the extent of the entertainment value that Smirkonish brings to the world.
So
like, that's the most uninteresting game ever played.
Aha.
Okay.
I was surprised that in Woodward's book, because he was saying it was Woodward's book, that Trump called Sally Yates the C word. And I was like, I'm surprised Bob Woodward reported that. Turned out he didn't. It was in Michael Wolff's book. So he suggested that it will not move the needle at all. We already know these allegations. Michael Wolff reported them, and it's similar. It just confirms the crazy nature of the Trump White House, which showed up in Michael Wolff's book. And I thought, I don't know, but you're missing the point. And for the establishment radio to miss the point, they were sort of eager in the establishment once they got a hold of that little yarn to pull of, oh look, he even admitted, right? Wolff did, that he didn't have some stuff, that he didn't write it down. I don't remember what it was, but he was easy to discredit, right? And that argument that Ben Shapiro is using now, well, once you find one thing that can be discredited, then then all 10,000 allegations in the book are out the window, right?
So why do you even know a Ben Shapiro argument?
I saw it on Twitter. I saw it on Twitter.
Oh, okay.
So but Bob Woodward is not Michael Wolff, and Bob Woodward is revered, and I don't use the establishment as negatively as you do, but we both know it's a thing, right? And Bob Woodward is the definition of the establishment, and he's done brilliant. He's done brilliant work often, and he's a relevant voice who should not be ignored. But so it is 50 billion times harder for everybody at CNN, at MSNBC, even at Fox News, at BuzzFeed, at Vox, at every relevant website to dismiss Bob Woodward. And therefore, because they won't be able to dismiss it as easy, it is much more likely than Michael Wolff to have an effect on Trump. Whether it will move the needle significantly, whatever you term, but I suspect that it will. I don't think that means he's leaving office anytime soon because of it, but I consider it is very different than Michael Wolff's book.
So we already have, there's so many things to update you guys on. We already have our first vote in tyt.com/season, which doesn't even exist.
For a poll that doesn't exist.
That's right. I will get to that later. Okay.
Maybe.
Maybe in an hour and 20 minutes. But and it's a famous person voting.
You want to just get to it now?
No. So I will get to Smirkonish wrestling, but I have to address the things that are said. One, it will move the needle. Wrong. Two, it has already moved the needle because I think it prompted Mike Pence to write that op-ed today. Did you read?
I didn't. I just had somebody tell me about it on the phone.
No, not even the op-ed, which is amazing and will move the needle by itself. I'll get back to why the needle's being moved and who's moving it in a sec. But no, the conspiracy theory that it was Mike Pence.
Oh, I thought it was just a joke by you. No, that's an actual conspiracy.
Yeah, it is because there was a word used in the article that is
mother. Was it mother?
And then the article ended strangely with saying, "I got to get back because there's a woman in the room, and I got to go and find my wife.
I got to get out of this room."
So there's a football game I got to walk out of disingenuously. That's how it ended. So I guess that was a clue. No, seriously, there was a word that people don't normally use. I actually don't think it's that unique a word, but lodestar. That John McCain was our lodestar or something along those lines, right? And people, because everybody's now a detective, but like a good one, I would argue.
They looked up for other people who'd used that word.
So they immediately Googled each senior Trump official to see if they use the word lodestar. And there is one guy who uses it consistently.
Mike Pence.
Mike Pence.
So Mike Pence's speechwriter likes that word and Pence likes that word.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, that's a great point, by the way, that it's probably a speechwriter.
Well, I mean, and I imagine if it's Pence, he probably didn't write it entirely himself. And
right, but on the other hand, Mike Pence is the kind of square that would use the word lodestar a lot.
Yeah.
He'd use a whole load of lodestar.
You would never use the word lodestar writing, and that sounded like people have speechwriters and they work with the guy making the speech. That's not like Mike Pence is an idiot, can't write his own speech.
Yeah.
But you would never use the word lodestar if you were a speechwriter a good one with a relationship with the person whom you're writing for, which obviously Pence would have. You're not some hack who you just brought in. Like, you would never use that word unless the person used the word. Like, it was not something you just, hey, I had you write, Jack, read Lodestar. You'd be like, no.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So when my speechwriter was writing this show, he put no Lodestars in there because I don't normally say Lodestar.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's a super fun conspiracy theory. But anyway, back to why the needle has been moved. So Woodward's book comes out. It causes a senior administration official to write the most unprecedented, shocking op-ed I have ever seen.
Right.
And I know we use that a lot in the Trump era because everything has been the most shocking, unprecedented thing we'd ever seen.
Right.
And they're not exaggerations. They are true by a mile, by a country mile, okay? They are the lodestar of truth.
What are the lodestar truths?
That half the things that happen today are the most shocking, unprecedented things that have ever happened in our lifetimes in American history.
There's a comedian called Lori Kilmartin, I think, and she's a liberal. I don't know. She's whatever. She's on the right side to me, right?
Okay.
But she does a good thing, and she just takes whatever the main story of the day. I don't know whether she does this every day or twice a week or whatever, and she just pretends that it was President Clinton who did it. You know, President Hillary Clinton today. And so here was, an anonymous high-ranking official in the Clinton administration wrote this, and you read it and you're like, it should be impeached. Like every time she does something with this, you'd be like, holy moly, how the story would never die. And yet every Trump story, and maybe it would be if Clinton did it every day too, but she wouldn't. It wouldn't. It is shocking to think about how things would be different if any of these things had been done. If Hillary Clinton threatened to fire her attorney general for not, as you tweeted about, for not bending investigations
to help Democrats.
To help Democrats, right?
Immediate impeachment. Immediate. Within the week. She'd be out within the week.
And I hope that I am correct in saying that I think for both of us, we would think, oh, she's crossed the line. She can't come back.
Yeah,
she's got to go.
I mean, look, there are
be time for President Kane.
Oh, okay. There are literally hundreds of those stories that would have gotten Hillary Clinton impeached. I mean, look, my favorite story that everybody forgets, and you might not even heard the story because there are so many fantastical, unbelievable stories about Trump that it might have just lost it in the waterfall.
I miss stuff,
or when I say, you're gonna be like, oh yeah, oh my God, that was so mental, and no one ever talks about it, is when he raided his doctor's office. And he had his personal security, and this was what, less than a year ago. This is while he's
so far, I don't even know what you're talking about.
No, that's amazing, right? So you don't even know it.
Or I remember it.
Yeah, he had his personal security guards go over to his own doctor's office.
The crazy doctor with the long hair.
Crazy de Bornstein or whatever, right? And physically break in, move the doctor out of the way, take Trump's files, and run out.
That's definitely true?
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that story.
That's mental. That's mental beyond belief. That's like, you could argue that's kind of mini Watergate because there's a break-in.
Right, sure.
Right? It's of his own doctor's office. That's why the doctor turned on him. Everybody turns on him because he's so freaking crazy. So the doctor was like, what?
The doctor said he was healthier than any president ever.
Yeah. So that doctor then he's like, they broke into my office. They stole my files. This is so weird. Okay, by the way, of course I didn't write the letter. The letter saying Trump was the healthiest person that ever lived. He's like, of course they wrote it in the limo. They brought it up and made me sign it back when he was running.
Security guards loyal and connected to President Hillary Clinton broke into the offices of her doctor and removed all of her files amid accusations that she was whatever the thing was, that she had Parkinson's disease.
Come on. She's gone. She's gone and perhaps in prison.
Right, yeah.
Right? We forgot that story about Trump because it's a nonstop avalanche of insanity.
It's like, it is, I mean, there's a lot of comparison of things that people don't quite know enough about. And I certainly fall into this trap too, but a lot of Nixon comparisons. And Nixon was a much smarter person, much more educated person, much more interested in the world. But I'm not sure, there's a temptation to think that Trump is far more corrupt than Nixon. I'm not sure. Nixon was not interested in personal wealth, right? But he was interested in power and doing anything he could to keep it. I mean, the laws Nixon broke were frickin' staggering, right? And I tell the story often, but I mean, when Arthur Bremer shot George Wallace in Maryland during the 1972 campaign, Nixon told Chuck Colson to call his guys, the same kind of guys, if not the same guys who broke into the Watergate, to go to Bremer's apartment and plant McGovern literature there, so that when the FBI arrived, they'd look, it's a McGovern supporter who shot Wallace. It's on the tapes. He just says to do it, right?
That's amazing.
And then they sent a guy, and the guy said, by the time I got there, the FBI was already there. So opportunity lost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Nixon was run out of office because he was, in a sense, like Trump, a career criminal.
He was a career criminal.
Yeah, but almost all of his criminality is centered around politics, whereas most of Trump's criminality revolved around money.
Yeah.
Now, this is the first half hour, basically. The full episode is for members, and you're gonna love it. So come join us at tyt.com/join.